Hello, friends and fellow bibliophiles. Welcome back to Kat's Novel Adventures. In today's video, I want to share with you my adventures while reading AutumnCrow High, Fresh Hell by Cameron Chaney, where school is back in session. Oh, hey, how's it going? Just sitting out here on my porch, enjoying this nice day. It's still a little warm here, but we have a little breeze. Of course, you know, when I'm looking at these trees and got a breeze going on, it always reminds me of The Happening. I'm sure if you've been around my channel long enough, you've heard that before, but just enjoying today, because if you didn't know, today is the first day of October. Yes, the first day of October, which is my favorite month and the beginning of the spooky season. And so if you have watched my October TBR recently, you would notice that I have an extensive pile of possibilities this month. I can't help myself. Lots of great choices on my pile of possibilities. And guess what I'm starting with? I'm starting with AutumnCrow High, Fresh Hell, hot off the presses, highly anticipated, and it's by the fantastic Cameron Chaney. He has a wonderful short story collection called AutumnCrow. If you have not read it, I would suggest not only adding AutumnCrow High to your list, but I would check out AutumnCrow as well. You will not be disappointed, and it really will add something special to your October reads. So this book says, school is back in session at AutumnCrow High. Will the class of 1994 survive long enough to graduate, or will the cursed town of AutumnCrow devour them all? Well, we shall see, because I'm going to start it. Really done. The dream comes as it always does, oozing from the edges of sleep, like blood from a gaping wound. There's no way to stop it, no way to stay safe and snug in my warm, cozy bed. I can fight all I want, and I usually do, just to say I tried, but the struggle only wears me down, leaving me weak and vulnerable. The dream is stronger than me, and it shows no mercy. Come, let me fix you, the phantom voice says. The words are summer honey, sugar sweet and sticky with tenderness, but they scratch along the insides of my skull like some undead thing clawing its way out of a casket. No, please, 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 not tonight, God, please. I cry in silence. Y'all, I am loving AutumnCrow High, Fresh Hell. This book is awesome. I have only read 3 chapters and I am hooked, and I am already invested in our main character, 17-year-old Bailey Hagan. She is in the midst of a terrifying dream. It's more like a reoccurring nightmare from hell. And right when she's about to wake up, she is being approached by this really gorgeous guy. He's got pale blue eyes and he's got a smile on his face, but there's something dark and sinister about that smile. And he also has this weird contraption strapped to his back, and somehow it's making Bailey think that he is like orchestrating this nightmare for her. She thinks of him as the puppeteer, and she wakes up. And when she wakes up, it is the morning of her first day of her senior year of high school. Yeah, she's a student at AutumnCrow High. And she needs to get up because she and her best friend Melody have decided that they're gonna go get coffee before they head off to school. So Melody comes over and helps Bailey make herself look a little more presentable and not to raise any red flags with Bailey's mom, because Bailey is looking a little rough from the lack of sleep. But there has been a change in the family dynamic. Something has happened to Bailey's dad, and she doesn't want to give her mom anything else to worry about. So the 2 girls end up walking to school, get to the spooky cafe where Bailey works, and they order their drinks. They're greeted by another employee who happens to be kind of like a brother figure to Bailey, named Brian, and he seems very sweet, and they're chit-chatting. They're ready to head out the door, and who opens the door for them? The boy from Bailey's nightmare. So I cannot wait to find out what's going to happen next, because as you can imagine, Bailey is pretty shocked when she sees him. I am loving the references that are made throughout the book. They come from TV shows, from books, from movies. In fact, Cameron mentions a old black and white movie from 1959 called House on Haunted Hill. It is starring the fantastic Vincent Price. Well, I happen to be in a stage production of that movie called The House on Haunted Hill, and I actually got to play the part of Mrs. Slides. I'm a ghost in the stage production, and I had the best time with it. So of course, when I was cast for the part and I knew it was based on that movie, I had to watch the movie, and the movie is great. So if you've never seen House on Haunted Hill with Vincent Price, I strongly encourage that you check it out. It is a classic and it's wonderful, and it would be perfect for the spooky season. I'm loving the writing. This book is so well written. I love the description of AutumnCrow. It just makes you want to visit. I wish it was a real place. I'll keep you updated on what's happening with it, but I'm loving it so far, and I can't wait to get back to it.
Kat said, hey everyone, just finished dinner, baked salmon, brown rice, and roasted broccoli. I'll be reading Crow High, Fresh Hell by Cameron Chaney.
It is Monday evening, and I just hopped off of Sprints on Lee's channel called Dark Roots Creations. They have some lovely ladies over there, Tiffany and Stormy and Lee and also Sarah. So I have a good time with them, and I got some reading done. I read another 4 chapters in AutumnCrow High, Fresh Hell. I'm still loving it. We are now finding out a little more backstory about Melody as well as Bailey. They do make it to school after stopping at the coffee shop. Bailey's a little shaken up because she thinks she has seen the boy from her dreams. Well, they're in the cafeteria, they're having lunch. We also meet Melody's ex-boyfriend, Jerk Alert, and we learn a little bit about their relationship. Guess who sits at their table? The boy from the coffee shop. We learn that his name is Dennis, and while he does look similar to the boy from Bailey's dream, there are things that are different about him. He doesn't have the sinister smile, and his eyes are not blue, but they are brown. And he and Melody just kick it off right from the beginning. But Bailey is feeling a little apprehensive because she's just not getting the vibes from him that Melody is getting, because he just reminds her so much about the boy in her nightmare. So anyway, they end up, going separate ways when it's after school and Bailey's heading home. There's a altercation between the jerk who dated Melody, and there are plans made between Melody and Dennis. Bailey kind of bows out of it because she's just feeling kind of uneasy around Dennis, even though he's being very, very nice. We also find out a little more about Bailey's dad, and so that is like a mystery that is unfolding as well. And we also find out that Bailey has an older brother that works at the police station. Having a lot of fun. I've made it to part 2, and I'm gonna keep going and see how this all unfolds. Hopefully Bailey can get some sleep because she's starting to fade very fast, and a person can only go without sleep for so long. Hey everyone, happy terrific Tuesday. It is actually Tuesday afternoon, almost dinner time. I'm about to go meet my husband for dinner, but I wanted to update you on my reading of AutumnCrow High. I had to work today, so I didn't get to read until I got home this afternoon. I started part 2, chapter 8, and we have had an altercation in the school hallway between Tommy and Dennis. Not surprising that Melody is at the center of this. Dennis ran off. He's acting kind of weird. Then Bailey, shortly after, has to go to the bathroom and meanders in the hallway, and it's kind of spooky. She really shouldn't be going out there alone because of the history, the dark history that has happened in the school. In fact, she ends up having 2 encounters, and she's not sure if she really does see an apparition of a young girl who is ghastly. And she also encounters another, what she considers maybe a hallucination, but it involves her dad. So she's a little shaken up and ends up bumping into Dennis. And that was a weird conversation. But she heads to work after school. She's not doing too well. She is so sleep deprived. Brian ends up relieving her, and it's dark and late, and she ends up walking home. Well, she almost gets run over by Melody and Dennis because he's driving like a bat out of hell, and they're heading towards school. Bailey hears Melody scream. She's not really sure, is that a fun scream or is that a I'm terrified scream? Anyway, she ends up at the school, and all I'm gonna say is that's chapter 10, the way it ends. Holy cow. I think things are going to really get wild at this point. I just wish that Melody wasn't so gullible and would see through Dennis. I mean, he's good looking, but I don't know. I'd be like, I'm over you and all your shenanigans. And Bailey, I wish, would talk to Melody about her dream and about why she's not too keen on Dennis. So that's where I'm going to leave you right now because I got to go. I'm hungry. I'm ready for dinner. Bye. Welcome back. I am so engrossed in my book right now. Oh my gosh, so much goodness is happening. Okay, so let's see where I'm at. I don't even know. Okay, I made it almost to 14. Of course, I didn't read the whole time that we were sprinting because I went and ate some of my loaded baked potato soup and freshened up my coffee, and just did a couple of things. But I am loving my Autumn Crow. Chapters 11 and 12 have gotten very intense, and we're finding out some information that is hard to believe, and it's all connected to this new kid who's come to town. It's creepy, very creepy right now. Good morning, everyone. Happy Thursday. I am about to head over to my parents' house. I have to take care of my mom today. And I just want to update what's going on with AutumnCrow High. Last night I had sprints and I read 8 chapters. I have 92 pages left. So I'm hoping between today and tomorrow I will finish because it is awesome. And I'm having a great time with it. A lot has taken place and it's scary. It really is. Cameron has done a great job of immersing us in the town of AutumnCrow. I'm invested in the characters. We're finding out things about our characters that are surprising. Tommy may not be the jerk that we think he is at the beginning. We're learning about Bailey's parents, especially her mom's past that Bailey didn't know anything about. We're also learning about what happened at the prom in 1959 at AutumnCrow High. Also, we're learning a little more about the apparition that Bailey saw at the school when she was wandering the halls trying to find the bathroom. But it really has ramped up. I don't want to give out too much because I don't want to spoil anything, because I definitely think anyone who likes horror should definitely check out AutumnCrow High. This has all the spooky elements of it and just the setting, the time period that it's taking place. It's just all awesome. So anyway, that's where I'm at. Still enjoying it very much and cannot wait to get back to it. I was working on my video, so I actually listened to the rest of my video and then I exported it, and now I can upload it when I get a chance. And then I read maybe a couple of pages of AutumnCrow High. Hey everyone, it is Monday morning and I am here to update you on my final thoughts of AutumnCrow High, Fresh Hell. I actually finished this on Saturday night and planned to update you yesterday. Unfortunately, I'm sure you can tell from my voice, I am suffering from hay fever right now, and it started Thursday. And by the weekend, I had gotten really hoarse, so I know that y'all didn't want to listen to me sounding like that. Bear with me. I'm going to try to get through this without coughing or having to go blow my nose. Anywho, so yes, I finished. And I'm so excited to share my thoughts with you. But I will mention that Cameron did send me this beautiful copy of AutumnCrow High. And even though I am friends with Cameron, I want you to know that I'm going to give honest feedback because it's only fair to Cameron. It's only fair to you guys. And I read it and I want to be able to express how I feel about the book. So, with that being said, oh my goodness, I loved it. I really did. I loved it. I personally didn't grow up reading Fear Street. I'm really a newbie to Fear Street. Just recently, within the last couple of years, I've only read 2 of them and I've enjoyed both of them. But I can see, the nostalgia for that time period so well in AutumnCrow High. And with Cameron being a huge reader of those books, I can see how he was able to take what he has read and write a book set in that time period, almost like he wrote it in that time period, if that makes sense. He has a wonderful way of writing characters. I loved the way everything seemed authentic to that time. Their dialogue, I didn't find it over the top or cheesy. The relationships between the characters are really authentic. I also love that his characters had layers to them. And I feel like AutumnCrow High is more character driven than plot driven. I'm not saying that it doesn't have a great plot to it. It does, because with this being the first book in a series, you're having to lay a lot of foundation. You're having to do a lot of world building. You're having to introduce a lot of characters. You're building community between those characters. You're creating a history. And you have to have a story with some substance to carry all of that along. And Cameron did that very well. One thing I liked is that if you've already read AutumnCrow, you have a little experience with the town, a town that is always like Halloween. And so those vibes carried over from that. I will mention that if you have read AutumnCrow, which I absolutely love AutumnCrow, it's a collection of short stories that are set in AutumnCrow. This book is very different from this book as far as, I would say, tone and mood. AutumnCrow, in my opinion, is more middle grade, maybe teetering a couple of stories on YA. AutumnCrow High is definitely YA. It is more for an older audience because there are scenes in here that I was very surprised when I first came upon the scenes. Let's just put it that way. And not in a bad way, because I love horror. I don't know what I was expecting. I guess I was expecting more AutumnCrow, and that, we wouldn't have so much gore, or we wouldn't have some situations that just seemed, I don't know. I can't describe it. It's just a little heavier, I guess, than what I would have read in AutumnCrow. And I think what's going on is Cameron ran with it. The stakes are higher. And I really do think that if you are a lover of horror, if you grew up loving Fear Street, it's, in my opinion, what I would compare to like the Fear Street movies. that kind of horror where, you know, you're going to see the blood and the kill count and the scariness and the history and the witchy vibes to it. All of that kind of melds together in a really wonderful way. I think the nostalgia really was wonderful to revisit for me, because even though I grew up in the 70s and 80s as a teenage, young child and then a teenager in the 80s, I was alive in the 90s. My oldest son is a 90s child. He was born in 89. So he was the one that was reading Goosebumps, and then I got to read some of his Goosebump books, but he didn't ever really read Fear Street. But I know what it's like to use the technology of that time, and I'm really glad that Cameron stuck with that technology, because that was one of the things that I was a little disappointed with reading a newer edition of a Lois Duncan book, I Know What You Did Last Summer. They kind of changed some of the technology from having like your phone with a cord to a cell phone. And I don't like that. I like, if a book is written during that time period, keep it in that time period. And so that's what I love, that he was able to capture all that nostalgia of that time period. He did it very well. I also loved the pop culture references, because I know this, Nightmare on Elm Street. I am a lover of Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And it also reminds me of what Stephen King does. He nestles Easter eggs in there, and I love that. That's one of the things I love about Stephen King's writing, is that one, he's great at writing characters, but two, he refers to a lot of things that happened during that time period. And so you have a little experience with that if you grew up in that time period, or you know anything about the history during that time. I will say his characters, I was really invested. I went through a gambit of emotions in this book, from, being scared to shocked to angry to sad. At the end, I teared up, because there are moments at the end that are heartbreaking, because I invested and felt an emotional connection to a couple of these characters, and guess what? It didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go. It hit me in my heart. So this is it's a horror story, but it also has heart in it. Cameron does have a good grasp of teenagers, and I think that also brings some authenticity to this. We find out a lot about the past, and I think that he did that transition very well, for us to be able to go into the past with the supernatural elements that are flowing all throughout this novel. The only other thing is I do have some questions, and as a questioner, I hate being left kind of hanging, and this story does end on a cliffhanger, in the sense that we do have some unanswered questions, and we do know that something else is going to happen. I mean, I know that this is going to be an ongoing series, and I hope that Cameron has started the next book, because I can't wait to find out what is going to happen and to see if some of my questions will be answered, because there are aspects where I was a little confused about the proprietors of the town and their backstory. There are rumors that are mentioned, but I just want to delve a little more, and maybe I need to go back and read AutumnCrow to see if there's some hints or clues in there that could solidify that. But I need to know more about AutumnCrow, the person, and am just a little confused about the motivation with that character. And then I also am wanting to know more about the creature that haunts the halls of AutumnCrow High. That creature does have a significant role in our story, and it teeters between supernatural and reality. I'm just wondering more about it and its connection, especially to one character in particular. Those are just questions that I have, and it didn't take away from my enjoyment of the story, but it kind of like is at the periphery. I'm still kind of thinking about it, and almost thinking I need to reread the story to see if maybe I missed something along the way, maybe when I had to put it down and pick it up again. Also, I want to mention that I do like the formatting of the book, that it is broken up into parts. And then I also like that it's from different points of view, because then we get a little bit of different perspective and we get some more emotions and feelings from our characters, especially, their thinking in some of the decisions that they made. Overall, awesome book, wonderful horror book. It's a 5-star read for me, and I cannot wait for the second book in the AutumnCrow High series. So check it out if you like horror, YA horror, and if you want a spooky good time. Thanks everyone for watching my adventures with AutumnCrow High. I really had a wonderful week of reading, as well as everything else that I did to welcome in October, my favorite month of the year. As always, I appreciate you stopping by. But before I go, I have an announcement. I am hosting a giveaway. Yes, I want to give away some books. I was so grateful that Cameron sent me a copy of AutumnCrow High that I want to send 3 people a copy as well. So I will be choosing 3 lucky winners to receive a paperback copy of AutumnCrow High, Fresh Hell. All I need you to do is leave me a comment below letting me know that you want to participate. And add some autumn emojis as well. It just adds to the excitement of the giveaway. I will be choosing the 3 winners on my live sprints that I will be hosting on Wednesday, October the 18th. I will also include additional details in the description box below. Thanks again for being here. I wish everybody the best of luck who is participating in the giveaway. Until our paths cross again, stay amazing and be adventurous.